is just being as I haven't streamed for a week. Maybe because it's New Year's and lots of hidden things are beginning to crap out in 2024. I'm hoping I'm back. I'm kind of looking to see if I'm showing up on. I am showing up on YouTube. All right. Anyhow, I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show. We took a week off because of I did an epic show on the 23rd where I did a 1,000-minute show. So in theory, I did 3 weeks of shows in one day, 16 hours. And so I was like, you know what? I need a break. And I hadn't had a break for a long time. But all right, I'm seeing people appearing. I hope everybody had a great holiday break. Happy New Year. But the big thing about this is that there is today is public domain day, which means that works from a year. And in this case, let's see, how many years ago was it? Let's see. I type and now I'm using the calculator. 95 years ago, things have fallen into the public domain. So everything in 1924. Now, yes, we can show Steamboat Willie, and I thought I had a copy, and I spent a good 30 minutes looking for it. My guess is that it vinegared away. And that is a little micro cautionary tale about the fact that intellectual property, film can't wait, and people who want to work on preserving materials can't preserve materials if they don't own the rights to it. It is not in their best interest, because what happens is if you preserve some materials, and the copyright holder shows up and says, no, you can't do that, you can't monetize this, you can't do anything to help pay for the cost and the time, it's not. So when you prioritize towards films that the rights are free, or you have a relationship with the rights holder. So Steamboat Willie, I had a copy at one point, but it's not viable anymore. It's gone. I mean, certainly there are bukus of copies of it, lots of releases of it that were on 16, 8mm, because of probably Castle or another company who had licensed with Disney. And those were not the best copies. But so anyways, I was trying to find, like, okay, what do I have that's in, like, that was 1928? And my database is kind of sketchy at that time period. Last year, we showed Metropolis. It was great. This year, I didn't have a whole lot of 1928 stuff. But I'm looking at comments here, and I shouldn't be. But I'm using this other interface because my other Mac is whacked out today. I've restarted it 5 times, and really annoying. So I went with the machine that I used during the streaming show. Old Radio said early 1940s Mickey is PD. Correct? No, it is not. Disney was very, very, because early on Disney did this, Walt Disney did this thing called Oswald Rabbit, this cartoon, which he did with Universal, and Universal kind of screwed him. So from that point forward, he was very, very aware of his intellectual property and worked hard to maintain it. And so that is the case to this day. So there's, Disney fought pretty hard to extend the copyright to 95 years. I think before that it was like 70 something. Now I don't think they have the political cachet to extend it again. Um, but anyways, what am I getting at here? There's a lot of talk, a lot of talk. Um, so I tried to find something I had. Uh, what I have is a little tiny 8mm copy of this film, and I was like, this is not going to work. I'm going to show you a better copy that I downloaded from the Internet Archive. And um, the thing is that the music itself is under copyright, so I'm going to actually use some annoying music that I have here um, that Restream has, and hopefully it won't be too annoying. All right, this is Buster Keaton, who is America's comedy genius. You could say that about Charlie Chaplin, but he's not American. He's British. Buster Keaton, amazing. This film, it's an hour longish, um, and this is the Cameraman, which fell into public domain today. So congratulations, America. These companies that routinely pull from the public domain and from folklore and from literature, and then they kind of make their own version and they hold it tight. This is part of the copyright deal, is that things are supposed to go back into the public domain, back to the people and back to our brain space, and not be this kind of thing. So here is the Cameraman. Let's enjoy. So here's another cautionary tale. Boy, today it's filled with cautionary tales, isn't it? Um, YouTube is notoriously bad about uh, keeping up to date on what is in public domain. And so it's very likely that this was registered by someone who did this release, and they um, have a content ID robot that brought it down. So annoying. Today has been very annoying with technology and streaming. I'm so happy you are here and we're communicating because everything else is going to crap. All right, well, geez, what am I going to show now? I have no idea. That was my show because I spent too much time looking for Steamboat Willie. Oh boy. All right. So frustrating. So frustrating. I was trying to celebrate public domain and this happened. But this is not the first time. Not the first time. Oh yeah, I was supposed to do this. Hold on. Oh yeah. This is the hammer. All right. I even like took out the music, like, because I was like, well, maybe the music might be a problem because somebody composed that in the late 20th century, and so anyhow, what am I going to show you? Let's see what we can figure out. I'll show you stuff that I'm fairly sure is not on YouTube, but honestly, it kind of breaks my heart. Kind of breaks my heart. Let's see. Kind of breaks my heart. All right. Anyways, I don't know if I was even live during this whole thing, but basically, yeah, YouTube. Oh yeah. This is a cautionary tale. Basically, YouTube's content robots are horrible. They're notorious for not keeping up on what is in public domain, and honestly, it's a bummer. And so this is essentially that was my show. Then I had all these problems with the computer, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go and I'm going to find this film because I know it's in public domain. I'm going to replace the soundtrack so I won't get in trouble. And then boom. YouTube, you are garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to show you stuff that I have an agreement with a copyright holder. I don't think Mystery Science Theater riffed on it. So here we go. This is What Are Animal Tales For? Enjoy.
you see that?
We see that.
Then let's talk about that.
All right.
Does a cow have a head?
Yes, a cow has a head.
What is a head for?
Mooing. Chewing.
Keep thinking.
Drinking. That's what a head's for.
And what are its legs for?
To walk through the meadow and hold up its head.
Oh, that's what legs are for.
Very good. Very good. And what is a tail for?
Tail for, tail for. What is a tail for?
That's what I asked. Cows have tails.
Cows have tails.
What is a tail for?
Tell us what a tail's for.
Horses have tails.
Horses have tails.
What is a tail for?
Tell us what a tail's for.
Birds have tails.
Tell us what a tail's for.
Fish have tails.
Tell us what a tail's for.
Snakes have tails. Lizards have tails.
Please, oh please, won't you tell us what a tail's for?
Fat tails. Flat tails. Long tails. Strong tails. Furry. Feathery. Hairy. Woolly. Tails and tails and tails and tails, all shapes and sizes and colors. Say, would you like to know what tails are for?
Yes! Hooray!
I knew you would. All right, let's start. You'll see that you're really very smart. We'll think about tails.
Tails. Tails.
You'll discover for yourselves what I already know. There are so many uses for animal tails. Shall we start?
Let's go!
What's this?
A kangaroo.
Can you see what his tail helps him do?
It's thick and strong. Can I guess? Even if I might be wrong,
Can you guess? Yes.
I can see when he sits that he keeps it on the ground, and he also keeps it down while he's hopping around.
Then how does it seem to you that a tail helps the kangaroo?
He sits on his tail. It's just like a seat. He almost seems to have 3 hind feet.
And so you've discovered that this sort of a tail is useful for support. Now, what do you see in the branches of this tree, little girl?
A squirrel.
Do you think you can tell how he gets around so well?
He uses his tail to help him go from one narrow branch to the branches below. He doesn't fall off, though I know he might, like a tightrope walker in the circus.
Right, so in other words, what you're trying to say is the squirrel helps to keep his balance that way. Balance and support.
Balance and support.
Animals use tails for balance and support. What's this?
A beaver.
He's cutting down a tree for a dam. Are you thinking with me while he's cutting down the tree how he's using his tail?
I am. For balance.
Balance. He's using his tail for balance.
Here are birds.
Hi, birds.
A bird has a tail.
We know.
Is it furry?
No.
Is it leathery?
No.
Is it hairy?
No. It's feathery.
So, with a feathery tail and the help of his toes, what can he do wherever he goes?
Balance. Balance. Balance and support. Animals use their tails for balance and support.
It seems to me that it's easy to see that animals use their tails for balance and support.
Animal tails, animal tails. So many uses for animal tails.
What's this?
That's a fish.
Does a fish have a tail?
Yes, a fish has a tail.
It moves when he swims. It moves when he turns. It helps him stop. It helps him go.
In other words, what you're trying to say is that animals move and steer that way.
Move and steer, move and steer. Tails help animals move and steer.
Tadpole tails, how do they help?
Move and steer,
Alligator tails, how do they help?
move and steer.
Porpoise tails, how do they help?
Move and steer, move and steer. Animals use tails to move and steer.
And can you see why tails help birds fly?
Move and steer, move and steer. steer.
For balance and support, to move and to steer.
So many uses for animal tails.
And here is another one for you.
Monkeys in a zoo.
A monkey has a tail.
A long, long tail.
Watch what they do with their tails. Watch how she holds with her tail. How can she hold on tight?
With her tail.
How can they swing left or right?
With her tail.
So in other words, what you're trying to say is that monkeys touch and hold that way.
Touch and hold, touch and hold. Tails help animals touch and hold.
Here are some animals. Do any of you know what these animals are called?
I do. Seahorses.
Seahorses. That's right. And see how the seahorses are holding on tight? What is this one holding on with?
Its tail.
So what do they use to hold on with?
Their tails. Touch and hold, touch and hold. Tails help animals touch and hold. Balance and support. Move and steer. Touch and hold. These are the ways that we've been told.
Ooh, that's an alligator.
Hi there, alligator.
Look what a big, strong tail it's got.
Big and strong, thick and long.
A tail can help an animal protect itself.
Hi there, cow.
Look at her now. Her tail is protecting her.
Can't see how.
Think very carefully. Think about flies.
Flies, flies.
Flies might tickle and flies might bite. A cow needs protection from flies.
That's right.
So how does she do it?
With her tail, with her tail. A tail helps an animal protect itself.
Flies on a cow and its tail goes
Swish,
Flies on a horse and its tail goes
swish, swish,
Goes the tail of an elephant, too.
swish, swish. A tail helps an animal protect itself.
Hi there, skunk.
Look at its tail. That's a warning. Let's run or we'll be sunk. Skunks make a smell and they do it very well.
And if you don't stay and you do run away, the skunk feels safer. So what do you say?
A tail helps an animal protect itself.
Protect itself.
Animal tails, animal tails. So many uses for animal tails. Balance and support. Move and steer. Touch and hold. Protect itself.
Tails are useful things, I guess. Do you know of any other uses for them?
Yes.
What a happy dog.
How do you know?
His wagging tail tells me so.
Here's a wagging tail.
But that's a cat, and a cat is angry when his tail wags like that.
A peacock's tail is important in his life. It helps him get himself a wife. The tail of a pheasant works that way, too, and that's also what the tail of a pigeon can do.
Animal tails, animal tails. So many uses for animal tails.
Balance and support.
Animal tails.
Move and steer.
Animal tails.
Touch and hold.
Animal tails.
And they help an animal protect itself.
Animal tails. Animal tails. Tails and tails and tails and tails and animal tails.
Right, I'm not going to apologize for that because that was kind of awesome. That's exactly what I needed to get me out of that funk. Oh my gosh. um, I mean, the fact that it was rhyming and that the narrator, who has narrated other Cornet films, was like, I can imagine they were like, all right, excuse me, you know, let that's Cornet does not normally do that, so I was very excited to see that that was the case. All right, what do we got? So we were supposed to be showing a film that fell into public domain today, but YouTube not into it. They don't care. They're. This could be an opportunity for them to step up and say like, "Hey, look, this is what we're doing." But nope, they're not. They don't care. It's all about ad revenue. All right. So in the meantime, let's learn about writing different kinds of letters. Enjoy.
Putting together model cars is Ralph's hobby. But it looks like a wheel is missing. It doesn't seem to be anywhere. Ralph will have to write a letter to the company to get the missing part. This very nice gift is from Nancy's aunt. Nancy will want to write a letter to her aunt to thank her. Jane's uncle works at the post office. Since her class is learning about our postal system, Jane is suggesting that they write a letter and invite her uncle to come and tell them how mail is handled. These photographs came in the mail from Japan. They're from Bob, who's been living in Japan with his family. Bob's father has been working there. The pictures were sent to Bob's friend, Jack. Jack will want to write a letter to his friend in Japan. His letter will be one of many letters that people write every day. There are many kinds of letters. We're going to see how 4 different kinds of letters are written. When we want to keep in touch with someone who lives in another country, letter writing is certainly one of the best ways to do it. Ever since Bob and his family moved to Japan, Bob has been writing to Jack. Bob's letter is neat. This not only makes a good impression, but also makes the letter easy to read. That's just being courteous to the reader. This is what we call a friendly letter.
Did you know that Tokyo is one of the largest cities in the world? It has over 10 million people. Last week, we visited the Ginza. This is a district of Tokyo crowded with many people.
The letter reads as if Bob were talking to Jack. It's relaxed and friendly. Jack wants to write an interesting letter in return. Jack tells Bob about the different things he's been doing. Playing tennis, taking long bicycle rides, going on picnics, having a really good time. One day, Jack and his friends went to the ball game. In his letter, Jack tries to show his feeling of friendship for Bob. Corresponding with Bob this way is almost like a short and enjoyable visit. Jack's letter, like Bob's, is also neat. Jack has chosen a correct form and followed it. Heading, greeting, body of letter, closing, signature. While Jack has written a friendly letter, Ralph has written a business letter about the missing wheel from his model car. He rereads the letter to make sure he has included all the information the company will need about the model car. What make is it? What model number? What part is missing? The business letter, as compared with the friendly letter, has an additional part, the inside address. This address includes the zip code, as all addresses should. Since Ralph is not writing to a particular person at the company, he uses Dear Sirs as the greeting. He could also have used gentlemen. Notice that there's a colon after the greeting, after gentlemen. The letter makes clear when the missing part is needed.
Since I am entering the car in a contest, would it be possible for you to ship the missing wheel in time for me to receive it by June 13th?
The writing is simple, and the requests that are made are courteous. Ralph's writing is easily read, and he's left enough space, margins, at the sides and at the top and bottom. Is this another business letter? No, it's part of the letter that Jane's class is writing with the help of an overhead projector. Jane is doing the writing, using the class's suggestions. This is a letter of invitation, so the class wants to make sure that the person invited, Jane's uncle, will feel he's really wanted. Let's speed up the letter writing.
Dear Mr. Roberts, we would like to invite you to visit our class to tell us how the mail is delivered. We were wondering if you could come next Friday, June 12th, and spend the hour from 11 o'clock to noon with us. Jane has told us of your slides, which help tell the story of the post office. If you would be willing to bring them, our school has a slide projector which you could use. We hope that you can come. Can you let us know by next Tuesday if you can spare the time for visiting us? Yours very truly, Mrs. Howard's class.
Now that the class has finished the letter of invitation, one of the children will copy it. Then it will be mailed to Mr. Roberts. This is Nancy, whose aunt sent her the charm bracelet. She'll be writing a letter when she gets home. Now she's home, getting ready to write a thank you letter to her Aunt Carol for the charm bracelet. She knows that thank you letters should be written promptly. Nancy feels very good about the gift she's received. Let's hear how she expresses her feelings.
Dear Aunt Carol, the charm bracelet is just wonderful. It's one of the nicest birthday gifts I've ever received.
Nancy will tell why she enjoyed receiving the gift.
A charm bracelet is something I've been hoping to have. I even know a place where I can buy more charms to add to my bracelet.
Nancy's letter will indicate her appreciation of her aunt's thoughtfulness.
It was so nice of you to think of something that you must have known I would like so much.
As you would expect, Nancy's letter to her aunt is warm and friendly.
One thing I would like even better than your gift, though, would be for you to come and visit us. Thanks again for the beautiful bracelet. With love, Nancy.
Nancy has been careful to see that her spelling is correct in the body of the letter and especially in the address. She's been careful, too, to see that the heading, the closing, and the signature are lined up evenly. The envelope that Nancy has addressed also has the right form and information, including the zip code. And it's all easy to read. That's important, too. Now the letter is ready for mailing. A few days later, it's in Aunt Carol's hands many miles away. How do you think Aunt Carol feels about the thank you letter when she reads it? And how do you think she feels about her niece? And what about Bob in Japan? How do you think he feels when he receives Jack's friendly letter from the United States? Bob seems to be enjoying the photographs that Jack enclosed with the letter. Here's the mailman at Ralph's house. Ralph must have done all right with his business letter, because here's the part for his model car. And yes, Jane's uncle did accept the class's letter of invitation. He's showing Jane's class some behind-the-scenes views of the post office where he works. Here he is, sorting letters. So we've seen some different kinds of letters, and we've seen the interesting, effective, and pleasant results that letter writing can bring.
Pretty great. I have to admit that I very much like the overhead projector, and that was a slide projector, but the base of it looks like it was a film strip projector. Some of those film strip projectors actually had this attachment where you could slide in slides, which was the most tedious, because basically what you had to do, instead of having like a slide carousel where you just hit advance, advance, you had to basically put the slide in, push it, you look at it, you talk about it, you pull it out, you pull out that slide, you pull the next slide, put it in, shlook, shlook. A far, far cry from PowerPoint. Although I would say that PowerPoint in itself has led to so many technical problems that whatever, excuse me, whatever time has been saved gets lost at conferences. Okay, let's see. We are watching films that are not in the public domain because YouTube sucks. Because I tried to show something in the public domain and it didn't work. I got in trouble. So this next film is part of a series. I think it's the third one that I have in the series. It might be the last one I have, but hopefully, this is Canadian. Hopefully it's narrated by our good friend. Let's see. Enjoy.
Power tools speed up your work, but power tools keep running no matter what happens. Until someone turns them off. Remember, the machine doesn't think. You do the thinking. Know the safety features on all power tools. All cutting machines have guards. Never remove them except when absolutely necessary, and be sure to obtain permission from the instructor. The guards are there to protect you. When you're working close to cutting edges, use a push stick. Different push sticks will help you with different kinds of work. Keep a good margin of safety between you and the blade. Never drill material when holding it by hand. You're asking for a serious accident. Make sure the work is secured. Beware of loose knots. They might fly out and cause an injury. Warped or twisted material should be faced and edge-jointed before sawing. In metalwork, know your metals and the cutting speeds required. If you have any doubt, ask for advice. When making any adjustment, be sure that the power is off. Attention to safety gives you confidence with power tools and machinery. At the drill press, as at any other power tool, dress defensively. Tie, rings, and watch off, and no loose clothing. Safety glasses should protect your eyes. Apply oil with a can or brush, but not with a rag. Vise, clamps, and any other devices and jigs you use should be placed and locked safely. Drilling wood does not mean that safety precautions can be relaxed or neglected. When you drill flat material, be sure the bit is centered over the hole in the table. Secure all the locks. And if the speed has to be adjusted, replace the belt guard properly. Clean up when you are finished with a brush. Never leave the key in the chuck. Never force a drill. If it binds, something is wrong. Something is unsafe. Check it. Different materials require different cutting edges. Only the correct one is the safe one. The grinder will help you to maintain your tools. Protect your eyes well. Have the safety shield in place and the tool rest at the correct angle. Hold small work in a vise grip. Place one hand on the tool rest so you can turn the work without losing support. The tool rest should always be set as close to the wheel as possible, just clearing it. A dirty or clogged wheel means danger. A loaded wheel tends to heat up because of the extra pressure required. To dress it, reset the tool rest so the heel of the dresser will hook over it, providing a safe guide. When grinding or buffing, the work should meet the wheel in the direction of rotation. When you install a new wheel, ring test it first. A clear sound indicates no cracks and solid bond. Never hit a wheel. This can weaken the bond or crack it. The jointer. The head turns at a speed of about 4,000 revolutions per minute. Each blade should be as sharp as possible. Never adjust the rear table, and you should be sure that the material to be planed is of sufficient size to be handled safely. Adjust the depth of feed in small steps. Too much at once will result in binding and kickback. With the machine off, check the blades for defects. Be sure to be familiar with the working of this machine. The stock should be fed to be cut with the grain and has to be free of flaws and foreign material. When feeding the stock, stand to the left, clear of kickback. Have a clean, non-slip footing. When your feeding hand might come close to the blade, use a push stick. Don't take chances that might cause an accident. Play it safe. The router is a hand power tool, but a power tool. The work should be clamped down securely. You'll need both hands to handle the machine. Wear a face shield, since chips will be flying. For the jigsaw, Plan your work to avoid backing out of long cuts. Set the hold down to keep the stock firmly in place. When feeding the stock, keep your hands away from the blade. Use stock that is large enough. And never remove cutoffs until the saw has come to a stop. Before you start the bandsaw, set the guide as close as possible above the work. Let the saw reach full speed before you cut. Feed the material slowly and don't twist the blade. Support round stock firmly. Make your own jigs if none are available. Never try to cut stock freehand if it doesn't lie flat on the table. And don't bring your hands too close to the blade. Be sure to select the correct speed and blade for different materials, such as aluminum. And don't force a cut. Never remove waste before the saw has stopped completely. If you hear a clicking noise, it's probably a cracked blade. Turn off the power immediately and step back. The blade might break. Be careful when you open the wheel guards. The blade might spring out. The circular saw is potentially the most dangerous tool in the shop. Stand well to the left to avoid being hit by a board kicking back. Use a push stick to feed the stock past the blade. Be sure the material is flat on the table and that you have a firm grip. Set the blade so that a few full teeth extend above the stock to be cut. And make sure the guard is replaced. Make adjustments with the power off. Be sure the blade is stopped completely before removing any material, and even then, do not reach across the blade. All adjustments should be locked and checked before you turn on the saw. Let the blade come to full speed first. Hold the stock firmly against the fence. Avoid cutting freehand. Get a firm grip on stock and miter gauge. For multiple cuts, put a spacer over the fence to prevent the cutoff pieces from jamming as they go past the blade. Ask for advice before attempting any new technique. Be thoroughly familiar with the things that can be done. Do them safely. With both the metal or the wood lathe, as with all tools, safety has to be the first consideration. Dress safely, loose sleeves rolled up. Wear safety glasses. In some cases, goggles or a shield are preferable. Don't let anything distract you, and don't distract anyone else. The dog, for turning between centers. Check it for the correct play. Secure all locks. Make sure the dog or chuck won't strike the carriage when it is in use. The work on your wood lathe should have the spur center solidly embedded. Material should be free of knots and cracks. The tailstock firmly locked. Check for proper clearance all around. Allow about 1/8 of an inch. Then lock the tool rest. Select turning speeds carefully. Use a low speed for rough cutting and for large diameters. Protection of your face, not only your eyes, is the safe way. Keep the cup center lubricated. When applying the oil, stop the machine, release the tailstock. Use an oil can and reset and check everything before restarting the lathe. On the metal lathe, if the center begins to squeal, back the tool off and stop the lathe immediately. A dry center can cause a serious accident. Use sharp tools have a good grip, and solid support. The lathe should be stopped when you adjust or remove the tool rest. Sanding is done with the tool rest removed. Tighten the faceplate by turning it slowly. With the metal lathe, don't let cuttings grow too long, but never touch them with your bare fingers. They are hot and sharp. Get used to filing by standing to the right of the headstock, and do your filing left-handed, keeping the right elbow high. Never wrap abrasive cloth around the work. Use a wooden block when removing the chuck. Never at any time leave the key in the chuck. These are all simple rules. Follow them and work safely.
Man, I love that series. It's so good. I mean, it's not only that it's a young Alex Trebek narrating, um, but the sound effects, the kind of warning tone, all of those things are um, really, really phenomenal. I was looking to see if there's more in this series. I've only found references to 3, but there might be more. So if I run across any more, we'll show them. But unfortunately, I don't have Shake Hands with Danger on this computer. Today was a lesson in frustrating technical stuff, starting with my traditional computer that I use for streaming. Just did not boot. I tried booting it 4 times, had lots of problems. Just was running incredibly sluggishly. I don't know what I'm going to do. Then came over to this computer because I have more than one computer, and then I was going to show you this film that fell into public domain, and then that didn't work right because YouTube decided that it was still in copyright, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I appreciate you joining us. I appreciate being back to show you stuff. Tomorrow I won't be here, but I will pre-record a show. I'm going to the doctor to deal with what is going on. But I'll be back on, what is today? Today Monday? Okay. I'll be back on Wednesday. I have no idea what day it is. I'm sure many of you are like that. But again, very much appreciate your eyeballs and your comments and your patience. And we'll be back to show you some stuff tomorrow. And then, etc. Yeah. What do I got going on here? There's oh yeah, you can support us on Patreon, going to patreon.com/avgeeks, or you can buy us coffee at ko-fi.com/avgeeks. You can also show the world that you like us by hitting like and subscribe. And finally, we discovered Michael Landon in the National Kids Quiz, and he said, and remember to love each other and to listening to each other. That is something that I'm going to actually strive for in 2024, is to be more gracious and accommodating, etc., with the people around me. So thank you so much. I hope that you had a great holiday and that your New Year's is wonderful and filled with excitement and good excitement and peace, and you get to connect with people who you love. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.